Hey guys, welcome to my channel, welcome to my stream, welcome to another chapter working on this guy right here, and that is our 148 scale Su-35S Flanker E by Great Wall Hobbies 148 scale. I will run that intro and we'll get started. We're back, guys. We're back, and we're going to continue on this little bird, or should I say big bird. Last time we were working on our big landing gear that goes on each side. Sometimes I call it the rear landing gear, sometimes it's called main gear, whatever. As you can see, I'm slowly working on my engine nozzles as I go. These are looking a little bit different each time you guys see them. My fins are now painted black. I do have one little strip around there that's going to be gray, just like in the reference photos I have. I've got kind of a metallic gray ring that's going along there that this is going to go on against like that. Yeah, and then of course I've got a little very highly bright silver strip that's going to go through there with all these little tiny little rectangles that are going to go on each little fin. Yeah, anyway, it's a big process. This particular model is probably the one that's going to challenge me the most as far as painting goes. So yeah, we will slowly work at it. But today we're going to work on our front landing gear. I don't know, sometimes do they call the front landing gear the main? Anyway, we're going to do our front landing gear. This one, that's going to be today. Now I have I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to assemble it, and then I'm going to paint it all one color, because the color I chose originally, I thought they were supposed to be the gray color like the rear one is, but actually then I was looking at some reference photos again, and then I noticed the front is actually more the extremely light blue, like this color. They have it like that color on all of them, so I'm gonna have to repaint it all. So let's see. Anyway, let's change the camera and we'll get started on this, okay? All right, here we go. All right, here we are again. And so for the most part, I think we just need stuff off of our C tree, except for these three pieces. These are the clear lenses for the lights. These have come off the E tree, but we're going to be worrying about those much later. So I'm going to do this first, all off of our C tree. I also need my G glasses. Yep, so change those out. Alright, so C82 and 85 are big pieces that we need here. C82 and 85. Here's 82. Which, you know, funny enough, I don't have this one painted at all. This is still in its primer. Just goes to show you how much I was paying attention when I painted it. There we go. 85 is our main piece. Of course, this has been painted, but it's just going to wind up a different color than this. A little delicate little rod off the back here. I have found a couple of times on this kit now these little delicate rods that they do. It's nice that they've attached it for you. It's nice that it's on there, but it's very, very delicate. It's a very, very small pin holding that on there, and it's really, really easy to break on you. Okay, what else we need? We need C55, 54, and 76. So, 77, 75, 76, this guy here. Okay. He looks huge, but he's actually really tiny. But that's him there. So we need 54 and 55. That's these guys over here. That's 55 there. Okay, I'll just put him over here. And then 54 on this side. Let's see, we need C80. This guy here, he's still primer. C80. We need 84. Looks like a little flat. It's actually not flat. Whole bunch of little pieces going to this landing gear. C84, and we need 69 and 70 are the lights, are light buckets anyway. These guys do get painted, so there we go. And that's about it for that. So we'll get these put together, and we'll deal with our wheels in a little bit. That's obviously these guys here, but we'll deal with those in a little bit. Okay, so this guy here, we got to get rid of his little nub in the middle. Okay, let's get rid of that. And we'll see how this goes together. So this goes in like this, and then this is going to slide down. It's got a little notch here, and we want that facing this direction, I guess towards the front. If this rod is towards the back, then this notch is facing the front, okay? So opposite way of this rod, and it's going to slide down. Actually, what we want to do is these two little spots here, this guy and this guy, they're going to go into this little slot right there on the side. So we could just kind of do this and put it over like this. Let's start in from the back here. And then kind of rotate it. There we go. He sits like that. Okay. You guys see that? Where am I here? Yeah. Makes it nice and easy to tell with the different colors, right? So let's grab my glues. Put these together permanently. Okay, so that's that. Now this guy, he's supposed to go on like this, but I believe he is part of the landing gear bay door, which means this guy is actually going to be fuselage color, I think. Let me see. I think this is the last part of the page, or last part of the book. Now that I've got all my bits on the book, let's just slide them off here. I want to make sure this guy, he's 54, 55 is separate. Don't want to lose anything. When we put our front one in, yeah, see that part there, he's going in right there, so he's supposed to be part of the actual fuselage. If I flip this over, he goes right here. Basically, he's mimicking this right here, like that. If he was all closed up, that's where he'd go. It's like this. Okay. So I'm not going to put him on until after I've painted that. In fact, I might just determine which color is going to be right here in this spot and paint him that color before I even install him. That might be the best way to go about it. So he's just going to go off to the side here for now. Let's go back. So C80 goes onto the back of this thing. C80 is this guy. and he's going to go on right about here, what looks like right above this little notch. Yeah, there's a little flat spot, so he's going to go right there. Okay, let's grab this glue. A little bit of glue on there. And he goes right there. And he seems pretty happy in his new home. Let's make sure he's straight up and down. There we go. Okay, so that's that guy. Let's see. Let's put our little sandwich together here. These guys, they have what looks like a tiny little divot right here where I'm putting the knife, right in that little spot. And that is supposed to line up on the tip of this right there. And they don't really have it going to anything. This guy, however, it's a little difficult to see. Just you have to refer to the assembled photo that they have here to determine how he's supposed to go. Okay, so the bottom of this guy has a little notch right here, and that's supposed to go on the top of this little pin. Just like that. And he just sits there like that. Although I'm finding this pin is actually hindering him, or maybe the shallowness of his little indent is keeping him from sitting flush. So let's just try this. Let's see if I can carve that little notch out a little bit. It would be easier to just kind of shave down that pin. But if I can just carve out that little slot better, maybe I don't have to do too much. I don't know if I actually did anything to it, but it looks like it sits a little better. Put a little glue on there. And he sits like that. Alright, so that's him. And then we got 54 and 55 that basically just attach on the side, right beside him. It looks like they want him to kind of sit in this kind of recessed flat area here. Because there is a flat, it's kind of a flat edge here. That looks like that would fit right on there. So, with that in mind, we'll put some glue on here. There we go. And I'm actually going to grab my tweezers and see. It sits on there pretty good, actually. Yeah, not bad at all. Fits good. Yep, that works. Do the other side. Wrong one. Bit of glue there. It really does just sit in that little groove really nicely. There we go. Okay. I like that. Just like that. Okay. All right. So, last we have our lights, and they go onto these two pegs, one here and the other here. So our single one goes down on the lower one. Let's take a look. There's a little pin sticking out, so that means there should be a hole. Yep, there's a hole there. That makes this one easy. Put the pin in the hole and call it a day. It's funny, it is angled down, so just make sure it's straight. There we go. It is on an angle downward, like it's pointing. It's not straight like this, it's pointing down like that, right? That's kind of neat. Okay, that's that one. And then we have our dual, our dual, which just has a slot in the back, which I guess just means it just goes on that one. And I guess it's also pointing down. Just like that. So they also point down, and that's how they look. Yeah, some kind of something to contrast the gray. Like that. Okay, so we'll let this dry for a minute. And we'll move on. We'll assemble our tires and wheels. We'll put those together. And we've got I-47. That kind of needs to go, I think that's going to go on after the tires actually. So let's take a look at that. So it's C25 and then 86 and 29. All off the C tree. It's pretty obvious which ones they are. These ones that I've already pre-painted here. And then our tires here. That's right, roll right onto the floor. I think I felt it hit my heel. So I kind of have an idea of where it may have fallen. And I could be wrong. Let's see here. Where did you go, little tire? There we go. Okay, so I gotta clean up my nubs off of this. Now, like I mentioned before, these have the flat spots on them, so they only go in one particular spot. They only got one way that they're supposed to go on. We've got a little notch on the inside here to help us guide our rim. So the rim has this big tab on it. Okay. So I'll just make sure my nubs are clean. Okay, so let's grab one of these, line up our little tab. There we go. That's a tight fit. Squeeze that in there. That is really tight. There we go. One tire, one wheel assembled to tire. We'll do the same with this guy. Let's pick the nice side here. Doesn't really matter which side it goes. There we go. That one went in a little nicer. There we go. So I'll just put glue on this side. Just kind of make sure it's lined up. There we go. So why am I putting glue on this side? Because just in case I get a little bit on there too much or something and I take a little of the paint off, it won't be noticeable. So there we go. We got our wheels. So these obviously go on. There's a little flat spot on the top of these, so that means that we don't have just a round hole on here. This will only go in, it keys in one spot that puts the flat spot down, like that. Okay. So I'll get this one lined up. There we go. That was easy to line up. There's a tiny little bit of play in them, but not much. That's how they're going to go. So I think you have to put I-47, get this on camera, I think you have to put I-47 on after the tires. So I'm just going to leave them like this and I'll grab I-47, I'll grab my eye. Not literally grab my eye. I-47, they kind of isolate it all the way all by itself on this tree. That guy there. Be careful with my fins. Okay, let's get this off. They've got a funky little way that they've put this on the tree. Okay, I'm just gonna make this a little smaller for my garbage. Now you can see they've kind of undergated it. You got to take these gates off here on each side, like this. You got to trim those off. This also tells me, it kind of confirms my suspicions. Your tires are going around inside these little notches. So the tires have to go on first. It's nice that they did this. This is at the bottom, right? Because it's going to sit in this, like this. And it's got pins, a pin here and a pin here on each side. And if I get it in the book here, you might be able to see. Might be able to see those pins. Right at the tips of my finger and my thumb, you can see the pins there. Right here and here. It's going to go into a couple of notches. It's going to go into the holes of your wheels, like this. So although they show it going on here, they show it afterwards exactly how it's supposed to be, right? Which means I'm going to have to paint this separate because it's going to go on. Kind of like this, over the tires. Like that. And then this piece here is going to go into the center of it, right in there. So I'm going to have to paint this separate. I will do this, and that's how I'm going to hold it. My tires are going to come off, and then I I will trying to figure out the best way to hold this so that I can paint everywhere. There we go. All right. Okay, let's move this stuff out of the way. I've got my airbrush all set up. I'm going to be using this color here, not the gray, obviously. It's this stuff. I've mixed this, pre-mixed this for just such an occasion. This is ready to go. And it's only going to take me a minute to paint this because it's just literally 2 parts. So I'm not going to bother. I won't switch to my painting can because it's only going to be a minute. My needle's in. That's important. Make sure your needle's in. Just going to make sure this is mixed. All right. There we go. Only need a tiny bit in there. So this is not quite the same color as the cockpit. You might be thinking this is the cockpit blue, but it's not. The cockpit blue is a little bit lighter blue, slightly lighter than this. This is a more, I'm going to say a more saturated, but not too much. So I'll grab this guy first. Just going to do a little bit on him. Get him the right color. Okay, so I know it's a little bit hard to tell on the camera, but now he's kind of a light blue. I see some area I missed. All his little ribs. It's kind of hard to get him, but there we go. He's blue now. Now we'll do his brother. This all needs to be blue. So I painted the whole thing gray. What I saw in the reference photos, it's actually a very subtle blue. It's not extremely pronounced. But nevertheless, you can tell it's definitely not just the gray. In any case, it's just one of those little details, right? I just wouldn't have felt like I did it justice if I had just left it dark gray. Okay, I think I'm happy with my blue coverage now over my gray. There we go, now we've got a little blue assembly. Okay. So, I'm going to need every drop of this blue that I have because this is going on a large portion of the plane. when we get to actually painting the fuselage, when we actually get there, which will be one day. I want to try and get this plane, I want to have this plane done before the new year. That is my plan, is to have this finished before the new year. I would also love it if I hit 1,000 subscribers before the new year, because as you guys have heard lots of times, I've been telling you guys I hit 1,000 subscribers and I'm going to have a video series with my fiance building a couple of Porsches together. What have we got here? Oh hey Uella, the can has the jet fuel in it. What, the can of Coke? I don't think so. And Uella, since you're watching me live, you get to watch me clean my airbrush, just like the rest of you guys watching me. And you guys who are not watching me live, well, you get the privilege of watching me just skip to the end, right about here. Okay, so with the airbrush clean, we can move on. We can go back to this. Go back to this, we can put our tires on. Because now that the brush is clean, we can touch this and not worry about that. So I'm going to glue my tires on. I'm going to glue on that spindle. I'll change the camera, sorry guys. I'll glue on the spindle and get that lined up. Nice, perfect. Now I just realized I've got a little spot I need to touch up with paint right there, so I can't glue that tire on. Can I glue this one on? I got a spot on that one too, but I can touch that up with the glue on there, that's fine. I need to get my rubber black. Where's my rubber black? There it is. Not you wait your turn. Rubber black, LP65. Let's touch these up. I actually think I used the Vallejo rubber black on these. That's the Russian green. Where's my rubber black? Engine gray. I have it here. Tire black. I use the Vallejo tire black. So if I do these with this, with the Tamiya, they're gonna look funny because then it's not gonna match and I'm gonna have to repaint everything. So I'm gonna use the Vallejo. I'll use the Vallejo. And yeah. Touch this up here. Where's that spot? I don't know why that's got a spot on it like that, but it does. Let's do a little touch up. Why not, eh? Okay. Now I've got that spot, I've got to put more on there. There. Okay. Let's keep this aside for now. Okay. That spindle. There we go. Tires are on. Just make sure that they are straight. Nothing looks funnier than tires that are not straight. I think you're actually supposed to have them not quite as far as they can go on there. Anyway, then this guy goes on. So line them up like that, just like that. Okay, so a little bit of thin right there. And where they touch the tires. There we go. There's our front landing gear. Now of course I have to paint our light buckets. Those got to be chrome. So let's put this down. I have a couple of options with chrome. Hello. As you guys have seen, I like to use my Molotow. I am a fan of the Molotow chrome. But for this particular plane, I'm using this stuff. Steady marker. Electroplated color marker. I believe it doesn't like to open, so screw you. I don't have patience for this crap. Box it doesn't want to open. Okay, there's your pen. Okay, I got these ones off of eBay. Not eBay, Amazon. They weren't very expensive. And you get 3. And yeah, it's a paint pen. It's got a very fine tip, very nice point to it. But you do have to kind of activate it by pushing it down like that and get the ink to flow. As I've discovered, I actually just discovered today watching some videos online, these things are inks. Same with the Molotow. Which is why, although they look brilliant and look like chrome, you dare touch them and you're kind of screwed. Touching it basically dullens it like crazy. And just like the Molotow, it likes to go on thick, and it looks really great. As you can see, it looks like chrome. So yeah, nice high quality. It looks great. But if you do it on any kind of a surface where you're going to touch it, as soon as you touch it, it turns silver. It's just, right? Which is why it's great for like these landing gear spots, because you're never going to touch that. And so that's going to look great, and it's going to look chrome forever because you're never going to touch it. And I actually need to do this shock as well. So while I'm at it, I might as well do it. What did I just draw? Sandpaper. Now, is it easier to get a brush in here? Probably. A brush is going to be a little more precise, but for our purposes, this will be good enough. It's a fine enough point on the tip of this that I can get in there. Get that laid down. And now I've got my little chrome shock. So there we go. Strip the sandpaper back. Alright, so that is done. Except for our clear pieces. Our clear pieces were E1 and E2. So, grabbing our E tree. There's 1 and there's 2. sorry, that's 2. There we go. I'm still going to have to clean up my canopy. That's going to be coming up soon, I think, is doing the canopy. Now, like I mentioned, this ink, it says in the box to leave this for 24 hours. Let it dry for 24 hours. So that's actually wise. I shouldn't have taken these off because I can't really glue them on right now. I'm going to have to let this dry, at least for a little while anyway, right? It even is really shiny in the camera. Yeah, it's really nice. Anyway, that is that. There's the landing gear. I think I'm at a point where I can glue the rear tires on. So let's do that. Let's get these guys on there. Kind of reduce the amount of pieces I have lying around. Just like the main one that we just did, these only go on one way. It ensures your flat side is down. And if by looking at this it doesn't match, you've grabbed the wrong one. There we go. See? The wheels are actually lefts and rights. And there's not a lot of play in them. There is a little bit, but you get the idea, right? Basically, get this flat spot kind of straight up and down, and then kind of get you guys lined up in there. Get your wheel situated so it's pretty much flat with that, and you're good to go. Okay, let's put some glue on this guy. Same deal, flat spot down, and then it should line up good. There we go. Same thing, just kind of get it lined up so it's straight up and down, and the axle's coming out, it's kind of straight. There we go. Okay, those are on. And so that's going to end it for this particular page. Let's have a look at our next one. Flip the page over to step 13. Step 13 is we're going to have, they want us to start installing it all, but of course I'm not doing that yet because I haven't even painted any of the fuselage yet. And I do not like installing landing gear and having it in there and then having to paint everything and having to mask off the landing gear. That is real pain in the neck. You guys have seen just about every build I do. I don't put the landing gear on until later. But there are little bits that we can put on. Like I-34 is a little fin that goes on the bottom. I can put that on. And it looks like C-37 is a little intake of some sort that goes onto the side there under the fuselage. I can put that on. So let's have a look at those. Okay, let's put our landing gear over to the side here so it's out of my way. Okay, and let's have a look. Let's grab there's our C tree and our fuselage and our I tree. Okay, I'll put the fuselage here. I-34 is a little fin. There's 31, 33, 34. There's right there. Where'd my nippers go? There they are. 34 here. The little fin. And flip our fuselage over. Now remember I put these fins on the top last time, so I gotta be careful. I can't just drop this down on its roof. I-34 is supposed to go somewhere up here, maybe in this spot here. Looks like it. We got a great big circular hole that he kind of just drops into. That. Yeah, Yeah, it just kind of sits like that. So I'm just going to clean it up a little bit. Just make sure it sits flush in there. It's not sitting on any kind of a nub. Make sure that's nice and smooth. Okay. Make sure I got my glue ready. And he's going to go in right there. Turn this around. Because once I got him in there, I'm going to get him aligned with my tweezers. Get him straight. This. And make sure he's straight up and down. Yep, that's good. Alright, that fin's in. And then we've got a couple of more. Now before I go and lose my little clear lenses, I'm going to put them over here so they're kind of out of the way and I know where they are. Okay. C93 looks like some kind of a little intake that's got to go on the side there. So let's find C93. C93 right there. Looks like there's only one. I don't put anything on the other side. That's interesting. It's just on the one side. Okay. There we go. It's a little intake guy. It's got a huge ejector pin sinkhole in there. Just going to make sure there's no flashing and that's flat. Okay. Now to determine exactly where he goes, they do show it here, and it's kind of just like find a spot there. There's no hole or anything designating the exact spot to put him. They kind of just show it maybe around here. In this, actually I can see there's a little bit of an outline right here. Right here in front of this square, in front of this rectangular panel that's here, there's this little outline right there. That's where he's supposed to go. Right there. So I'm going to put a little drop of glue there, and I'm going to try and pick him up with my tweezers here. That's where he goes. That's his home. Right there. Right there. I always wonder what these little things are that they put. It's obviously, it catches air through there and goes inside for something, right? Don't know what though. Yeah. I'm getting close to a point where I'm going to start painting this thing. I have to mask off the upper edge here, the ceilings of our intakes. Those are supposed to be this gray color, so I'm going to leave those, but I got to mask that off. Yeah. Lots of little things like that that still needs to be done before I'm actually ready to paint. I actually still have my little fingerprint grid marks on there that I really should. Since I've noticed it right now, I might as well get rid of that. Fix that right now. since I noticed it, I should take care of it. All right. Okay. So that's that. And obviously I can't do any of this stuff with my intake or any of this stuff with the landing gear, and that is going to finish off this portion of the instructions, which means I need the third and final book, which really is not much, not a lot. Putting on things like our canopy I cannot do because I need to prep the canopy, and I don't have time tonight to do it. I can't put this stuff in tonight. I can't do any of this. I can't really do a lot. I can put a couple of these bits on. There's some really strange looking bits that go on here. They want me to drill holes. I don't want to drill holes now. All this stuff, drill holes in for this stuff, and well, they haven't really given me a lot of guidance. There's literally nothing here to say, hey, this is exactly where you're supposed to drill holes, here and here. There's a possibility right here, but they don't really show it, and I don't know what those are. I think for my purposes, these little things are a detail I could leave out. I-21, however, I could put there. That's supposed to go up here into this little notch, I believe. I've kind of have it masked off. I think this is where that's supposed to go, is right there. Let me grab I-21 and I-20. See, they show I-20 going over to a side here that you can't see, and they don't show it in this picture. So, yeah, that's unfortunate. We've got our PE piece that's supposed to go here. But yet, you know, we have the detail there. I find a lot of the times the PE just adds too much of a lip to it. Which, you know, this is where I'm going to end it for tonight, guys. This, I just want to say something about the PE stuff that I notice. When you do PE parts for armor models or tanks, I notice a lot of times where you put the PE, you actually have a notched area where you put the PE onto, and then it's once you put the PE down, it's flush and nice and flat. But I notice on airplanes, when they add the PE into the kits, you're not putting the PE into a notched spot. You're actually putting it on top, and so it doesn't sit flush. You actually have the thickness of the PE, even though it is pretty thin. You still do have that thickness of this metal sitting on top of your surface, and it's no longer flush. For example, you guys saw me put the PE on the tail here. These things are sticking out like sore thumbs on this fuselage, because in fact there is already a raised spot that you could paint or whatever, right? The PE really is just adding a raised surface there for no particular reason, and once you paint it, the extra detail of that PE part really is kind of gone. And I don't see much purpose in putting PE on the aircraft like that. For a personal thing, it doesn't seem to add that much. It adds headache in adding the PE part. But anyway, like I said, this is where I need to end it for today, guys. I need to work on cleaning up my canopy glass. I need to get these cleaned up and ready for masking and painting and that fun stuff, all that stuff that goes along with it. Or two pieces. I just looking at this part here and how it's got this big notch out of the front, my first thought was, what, it's cracked? But actually, no, it's got that big thing for that big honking radar that sits on the nose cone of these planes, or the flankers. Anyway, I've got to get this. I got to deal with this parting seam in here. You guys have seen me deal with that before. I get out my eraser file and I file this down nice and smooth like this, and then I go in with Tamiya putty polishing compounds and my Dremel and buff that all out. You guys have seen that before. That's nothing new. So this is where I'm going to leave it, guys. I'll do that off camera and get that all finished up, and then we can work on masking and stuff like that and get things rolling, because after the canopy really is step 15, which is we're going to be doing with missiles and stuff like that, which means really my next step after the canopy is painting the fuselage, and that's a big deal. That's a big step, right? And so that's going to be, I think, more than a session all in itself, is just the painting. Anyway, guys, I want to thank you for watching. Thanks for coming out. Thank you for all the support. And you know, like I mentioned before, earlier on, when I get to 1,000 subscribers, I'm going to start working on those Porsches with my fiance and show you guys you don't have to be a professional, because like I said, she's never built a model in her life, and you don't have to be a professional to get a decent looking kit that looks decent on your shelf and you're proud of making it. And anyway, like I said, I'd love to get 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year, but I really honestly don't think it's going to happen. But I would like to get this kit done. I think I could probably get this kit done by the end of the year, though. Anyway, thanks again, guys, for watching. Thanks for coming out, and we'll see you all in the next one.